Welcome to the Better Together podcast, where we look for ways we can work together to more effectively spread the gospel of Jesus Christ among Free Will Baptists and others throughout the world. Today, we have with us Miss Mindy Wiggins. You might have heard of her. She is the author of the God Speaks series. She's also been done many different speaking engagements and so forth. But Mindy is a graduate of Randall University in Oklahoma and also Oklahoma University, right? Mindy, where you had a master's in music education. So I suppose you pull for the Sooners, do you?
I do.
Well, we will only talk positively about them today, Mindy. And we thank you for joining us today, my friend.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, you are a very accomplished writer. You've done a lot of things, but what we want to talk to you about today is your ministry to children who have special needs, and you have fostered several children and adopted several children. So why don't you share with us, how did you get involved in this particular ministry?
Well, when I was 14 years old, I went to a Christian concert and the singer was discussing his family's plans for adoption. And I thought, well, that's really cool. And that was Friday night. And then Saturday morning, I got the mail at my family home, and there was a magazine article from a Christian magazine talking all about this young lady and her adoption journey. She'd been adopted at the age of 5. And I thought, wow, that's an amazing story. And then Sunday morning at church, we had a guest speaker, and he was talking about, you guessed it, being adopted. And I said, okay, Lord, you're talking to me about adoption. I hear it. And I thought that's probably going to look like I'm going to have to move to a foreign country. I'm going to have to open an orphanage. I'm going to have hundreds and hundreds of kids that I'm helping. That's going to be what that looks like. And that's just not the direction my life took. So when I met my husband on our very first date, I said, you need to know something about me. Adoption is in God's plan for me, and there's no room for negotiation. And he said, my mother gave up 2 children for adoption before I was born, and I have always wanted to be the family that could care for those children.
Wow.
And so we met in August and we were married by the following July. And shortly after that, we began our journey toward adoption through the foster care system.
Wow. So it was, it was a super good Hallmark moment, wasn't it? He did not run away. You guys got together, you stayed there. And then it's immediately you're involved in this ministry.
Mm-hmm.
So yes. Tell us what that little road was like, because it's ups and downs, isn't it, Mindy?
It is. There are quite a few challenges. A lot of people are put off by the amount of training that they require when you go through the foster care system. But my husband and I really felt like it was informative, knowing what to expect. And originally our plan had been, my family, my dad is the 15th of 16 children. And so our original plan was, we're going to keep some kids together with their siblings because we really appreciate that. And we were approached at the DHS office and asked to consider taking a 6-month-old baby that had severe medical needs. Mm-hmm. And we had never considered that, but we were told no one else will take her. So we began to learn about her tubes and machines. She had already had 8 surgeries. They said she probably would not walk, talk, or feed herself. They did not give her much hope. But after 10 days of training, I felt like I could care for her. So she moved in with us. And she learned to talk, she learned to walk, she learned to feed herself, and she's a completely normal 10-year-old at this point. So once we had done it one time, people began to approach us. Hey, we have this other child that maybe you should consider taking in. So we've had a total of 14 children in our home. Mm-hmm. We've been blessed to adopt 3 of those so far. And it seems that medically fragile children and special needs children need just a particular kind of patience and understanding. And that's something we're able to give them in our home.
Wow. So Mindy, you got trained, and then immediately you're in it, and you have, wow, that's a lot of kids that you and your husband have worked with. That's wonderful. So somebody's listening to this, they think, maybe I could do something like that. How would they get involved? How could they minister in that way?
There is absolutely a place for everyone in the foster and adoption world. We firmly believe that. For those who want to be foster parents, you can contact, there are many Christian agencies, but you can contact your local DHS office or Children's Services office. They would be glad to tell you how to begin. But there are also needs for things like respite care. Those are people who can watch my children so I can go to a doctor's appointment alone, or they can watch my kids and my husband and I can get a dinner, just the two of us. There's a need for that. There's a need for people who are willing to bring meals to families when they get a new placement. It's challenging when you have any new child in your home to figure out how you're going to do everything now that there's a new person in your family. So providing meals is a great way to help if you're not the person who wants to be a foster parent. Then there's prayer, and tell the people in your church that you know are fostering children, tell them you are praying for them. It's great that you pray, but they need to hear you say, I have your name written down and I am praying for you and what you are doing. That's a vital part of what we do. There are many times where I didn't know if we could go on to the next day and the next procedure, and someone would call me and say, I'm praying for you right now, and I could get up and go. So I don't want to understate how important prayer is to what we do.
There you go. So there's really something for everyone. And don't forget prayer. And you made it clear, tell people that you're praying for them, helping them. Now, think about the church, and you're dealing with this. I know you're part of the Rejoice Church. So what is it that we as pastors and lay people in churches can do to help kids with these particular needs to feel more at home and to present the gospel to them?
Well, that's a really important thing. My church does this very well, I believe. But there's always something, big church or small church, that you can do. A big church might be able to do something as grand as making a handicap accessible bathroom where people can go in and have room to take care of medical needs or special needs for a child. And that may not be a feasible thing for a smaller church with a smaller budget to do. However, there's probably someone in a smaller church that would be willing to sit with the child or young adult that has special needs and allow the parents to go to Sunday school. Even if that's just a once a month thing. My husband and I in the previous year were able to go to the same service on the same week 4 times all year long. And our church has really begun to accommodate and make provisions, especially for our son, that they can allow us to do that more and more often. The last month we've gone every service together, and that's a first for us. So just being willing to sit with them, not doing anything special, but just being available is something I think every church could do. And let your community know that you're welcoming to people that have children or young adults with special needs. Let them know. I think it's something like 90% of families with children with special needs don't regularly attend church. And the people I know that that's true for, it's because they don't think that that is a possibility for them. So knowing that they can go and they're welcome there and someone will be there to assist as they're able is huge.
Excellent. So yeah, that's an easy thing. I mean, it's not really easy, but it's something that if we're just intentional about, you're saying having people that would sit with a child and then letting people know that's an option and being prepared, having people in place. It's also probably helpful, Mindy, if we always have people kind of on the lookout for people in need that could just use some extra assistance when they come and visit our churches and so forth, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Well, you have given us a lot to think about. So if I'm thinking about being a foster parent myself or adopting myself, you've given us some information there. Contact your local Department of Social Services, and they have training for that. So how can I assist parents in situations? I pray for them. I look for ways to meet a specific need and so forth. Anything else you think of that we could add for all of us to be thinking about this expanding population of kids that have special needs?
I would just add that we are a family like everyone else. So if it's something your family would enjoy or appreciate or a need you have, we probably have that too. We're not unusual. Our kids might have more tubes and machines than the average child, but we need all the same things like play dates for our kids, dinners out with other couples, all of the same things. So don't think of us as different. We just go about all the same things in a different way.
That's excellent. Well, thank you for taking the time to share with us today, Mindy. And we appreciate what you're doing. It's showing that life is truly important. We're taking the time to invest. You're investing your life in other children, and what a difference that's making. And we appreciate so much what you're doing for the kingdom and how you're equipping other people to be able to do these same kinds of things.
Thank you so much. I am forever changed by foster care and adoption. So thank you.
And we want to encourage folks to check out some of your books. You can go to Amazon.com, just type in Mindy Wiggins. You can search for the God Speak series. There's some good stuff there. So we encourage you to purchase some of those books. It'll help her to continue to write books and so forth. And so check that series out. And remember that everything you do for the kingdom is helpful. And so we encourage us all to work together because we truly are better together. Thank you for joining us today.